Hello, my spectacles to desire was the ghoul next door. Your favorite ghoul fiend. Hello, my spectacles in his eye, artist blood, the ghoul next door, your favorite ghoul fiend. And this is episode 7 of my Halloween 2026. And today's bingo card task is watch a family-friendly horror. Now, there'll be a second segment after I do this one where I've done a recipe inspired by this movie, which could almost be considered comedy relief, the recipe in segment 2. Anyway, so like I said, the bingo task for this week's episode is to watch a family-friendly movie, and I picked The Monster Squad. Full honesty, I wasn't sure I was going to get this one up this week because, well, my original copy, which was on DVD, when I went to put it in the machine, it had disc rot and it wouldn't play, so I had to order a brand new copy, and I made sure to get it on Blu-ray this time. And it doesn't have as many of the bells and whistles as the other one did, but it worked in my machine, and that's literally all I care about. Alright, so the 1987 movie, The Monster Squad, is about it starts off with it's Transylvania 100 years ago, and Van Helsing is fighting Dracula, the brides, and I think there was a Frankenstein, and Van Helsing and his crew, his men, they were fighting Dracula and the monsters. They had to do a ritual. They're reading from Van Helsing's diary, and they open up a portal that takes all the bad guys, takes all the monsters, and sucks them into this limbo. But they don't quite complete the spell. They had to have a virgin girl read the German spell, and either they didn't finish the spell before Dracula got them, or they hit past the time frame or something. It's never really explained. Cut to modern day, which happens to be 1987 when the movie was done, and we see 2 teenage boys, Sean and Patrick, in the principal's office. They're in trouble for drawing pictures of their science teacher and kind of mocking her. So they get a stern warning, and as they leave the school, we're then introduced to the character of Horace, who's being, aka the fat kid, he's being bullied. I don't remember what the bully's name is. I want to say AJ, I could be wrong. So anyway, there's 2 bullies. The one, AJ or EJ, something like that, and then the other one, I don't think he's ever mentioned. He might have been, but he literally has like no lines. They're bullying Horace. Horace is holding a Snickers bar in his hand and a comic book, and they rip up the comic book and they take the Snickers bar and they grind it into the ground. Along comes our next character, Rudy, who's supposed to be a couple of years older. So our main characters are about 12, 13 years old, and then Rudy is supposed to be like 14 or 15, I believe. So he's an older kid, and he comes along and he kind of stops the bullies, and he forces the one bully, to pick up the chocolate bar. Yes, It's a chocolate bar. I don't understand why you Americans call it a candy bar. There's no candy in it. It's a chocolate bar. Take it. Everywhere else they call it a chocolate bar. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So Rudy forces the bully, one of the bullies, to take the chocolate bar up off the ground that's been smushed into the dirt and the rocks and the bugs, and eat a bite of that chocolate bar. Kind of get the instant karma revenge, right? So Horace decides to bring Rudy to meet Sean and Patrick. They've got a tree house on Sean's property where they have their little monster club, and in the tree house it's them and the neighbor kid Eugene, and then sometimes Phoebe, who is Sean's little sister, and there's a dog. It was Eugene's dog. So they give Rudy this monster test to see if he's got the knowledge to be one of them. While he's sitting in the treehouse, there is a camera set up by the window. Sorry, it's hot here. Camera set up by a window, and he's looking out the window while he's rattling off. They ask him, how do you kill Dracula? And he's like, a stake through the heart, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, how do you kill, like, name 2 ways to kill a wolfman. And he's like, silver bullets. And they're like, and he's like, that's it, silver bullets. And they give off, actually, the rest of them, they give off a list of, well, you could blow him up, or you can put him out a window, or you could do this, this, or this. And it's kind of an inside joke to what happens later in the movie. So while all this is happening, we get a shot of 2 pilots in a cargo plane kind of going over the area, and they've got these boxes, and one box has the Frankenstein creature in it, and the other one has Dracula in it. Dracula breaks out, scares the one pilot, and the pilot, in his fear-encased wisdom, opens up the cargo bay, and the Frankenstein creature box goes, just, it's dumped into the lake, the swamp. Dracula turns into a bat and flies away after it. We are then introduced to Sean's parents and his father. His mom tells him that she found an old diary at an estate sale, and it's Van Helsing's diary, and he's looking at it and he's like, oh, it's in German. I don't know how to read German. I don't know anybody who can read this for me. The parents are having marital problems, and the dad, a lot of traffic, and the dad, who's a cop, he skips out on, they're supposed to go to marriage counseling, but he gets a call, because he's a cop, to go investigate a dead mummy that's missing at the museum. So he goes to do that, and him and his partner, I didn't catch the name of this, I'm just going to call him the second cop, because I honestly don't remember what his name was. I didn't catch it. So him and his partner, they're at the scene of the crime, and they're trying to figure it out, and the cop dad, Dell, the dad, his name is Dell, he goes, well, a 2,000-year-old mummy just doesn't get up and walk away on its own. Hard cut to a mummy walking down the middle of the street in the middle of the night. We then, there's a scene then, I think I got the scenes mixed up. There's a scene then where we're at the cop station, and a guy is telling them to lock him up, that he's about to turn into a werewolf. They don't believe him. He grabs another cop's gun, shoots, and then the cop shoots him, and they think he's dead. He's in the coroner's van, but the full moon hits him, and he turns into a werewolf, and the werewolf kills the coroner and gets out. Then we see we're in the swampy area, and the swampy area just happens to be right next door to the treehouse. Dracula opens the crate, the Wolfman arrives, the mummy arrives, and there's a Gillman. The Gillman's in the swamp. Next morning, I think it's the next morning, the character Sean, he has a message from Dr. Acula saying he's interested in buying the diary of Van Helsing. Sean figures out that it's an anagram for Dracula. They call, excuse me, burped. They call an emergency meeting of their monster club. Sorry, I burped again. To figure out what to do about it. And they realize, sorry, their neighbor, who's a scary German guy, they ask him to translate the diary. While that's happening, Dracula has told Frankenstein creature, told the creature to go get the book from the kids. He's got the Wolfmen helping him dig up the amulet in an old mansion at the other end of town. The Gillman, I guess, is just swimming around on guard. And the mummy, I have no idea what he told the mummy to do. I can't remember. But everyone kind of had their job. So instead of hurting the kids, the Frankenstein creature, he befriends the little girl, and we get kind of like this little nod to the original 1931, is it 31? The original 1930s Frankenstein, I think it's 1931 that Frankenstein came out. The Boris Karloff Frankenstein. We get a little nod to that, and we also get a little nod to the character in the book, because in the book, the creature befriends a blind man and is taught how to speak. So Phoebe, the little girl, the sister of Sean, she meets up with the Frankenstein creature, and she kind of teaches him to say bogus and give me a break, and there was something else, which were really popular catchphrases back in the 80s. They end up again having an emergency meeting with their little group there, and the creature is sitting in the treehouse, and he leans over to take a photo, or he leans over, I should say, because he sees Patrick's sister across the next door neighbor, and she's in her window, but she's getting undressed, and Frankenstein kind of leans over, or sorry, the creature leans over, and he accidentally hits the camera and takes photos of her, and he freaks himself out when that happens. We then, I just watched this last night too. The kids decide to go to the mansion. They figure out that that's where the amulet is that Dracula is looking for. That's what brought him there to begin with. He's looking for the amulet. You need the amulet and the diary in order to fulfill the ritual. The kids learn from the scary German guy who translated everything that the ritual needs to happen within 24 hours, and they need to find a virgin to read it. So the naked sister the naked sister, they blackmail her with the photos into helping them to do this, and Rudy ends up making steaks and silver bullets in shop class, and he steals a thing or liberates a crossbow and arrows from the local kids club or something. We're not too sure. He's just, all of a sudden he's in this place where there's like bows and arrows, and he grabs the set. So then they're getting ready to fight the monsters. Dracula has created some new brides. The cops, they get a phone call from the werewolf who has, or the wolf man who has, because in his regular human form, he has a conscience, and he doesn't want what's going to happen. So he calls the police station, and he tells them he's going to kill your kid. So the character Dell, the cop dad, him and his partner, they head off to try and stop this. Dracula has dynamite. Oh, there was a scene, I completely forgot the scene, where the kids showed up at the old decrepit mansion to try to find the amulet themselves. I think I mentioned that part. And they come across Dracula and the Wolfman, and we get the infamous Wolfman's got nards comment. And Horace, he's quick thinking. He grabs his backpack and takes out his lunch, and he's got a piece of pizza, and he puts it on Dracula's face and burns him with the garlic that was on the pizza. But while they're there, Dracula had been using dynamite to get through a large wall to where the amulet was. So here we are back a couple hours later, and the two cops have raced to their house, to the cop dad's house, where his wife is, and he's trying to find his son Sean. Dracula follows them. Dracula has dynamite. He uses the dynamite to blow up the cop car, and so the partner, he's blown up, and Dracula also blows up the treehouse. Eugene sent I missed the mummy scene. Earlier, right after the mummy had left the museum, Eugene tells his dad that there's monsters in the closet and under his bed and everything. So his dad comes in and doesn't believe him, of course, and he pretends to get rid of the monsters, and he opens up the closet, and us, the viewers, we see the mummy standing in the closet. So that was a few scenes ago. So now here we are, and Eugene has written letters to the army telling them that there's monsters, they gotta come help them. The mummy, after Dracula blows up the cop car, then the rest of the group and the scary German guy grab a car, and they're hightailing it down the highway trying to get to a church to perform the ritual at the church, and they've only got till midnight to get this done. The mummy latches onto the edge of the car, and we see Rudy use the arrows, and he ties the bandages onto one of the arrows and sends the arrow off into a tree. It unravels the mummy, and the mummy just disappears, and we have this great line, take that bandage breath. We get to the characters get to the church. The church is locked, so they're standing outside the church in the main street, and then all of a sudden we have the brides come in. They dispatch the brides pretty quickly. The Wolfman has started to chase the Sean and Sean's dad Dell to an abandoned warehouse. They blow him up and shove him out a window. They grab a stick of dynamite and blow him up and shove him out a window. And as his parts land, and then they twitch and they bring themselves back together. And Rudy has a gun full of silver bullets, and he just needs one silver bullet, and he gets them. And the Wolfman goes back to his human form, and he says thank you as he dies. We find out that the naked sister, she's not actually a virgin, but just Steve, he doesn't count. And Eugene points to Phoebe, the little girl, Sean's sister, and he says, well, yeah, can she do it? So the German guy, he tells her, like, translates for her and just has her repeat what he says. Dracula kind of stops them in the middle of this, grabs her by the face and lifts her up and scares the crap out of her. My window's making noise. That's always fun. Then the dad does something, and I can't remember what it is there now. And the brides are dispatched. Oh, I think the dad somebody throws Dracula onto a fence post, but it's metal, so it doesn't really do much. They manage to open up the portal. Everything is getting sucked in. Dracula grabs Sean. Sean grabs a stake. He stakes Dracula. Dracula goes off into the portal. All the creatures end up being sucked into the portal. And Frankenstein's creature says goodbye to Phoebe. I forgot a big scene. Right before all this happens, the Gill Man pops up out of the sewer. Horace is standing out in front of a bookstore. This was a couple scenes ago. In between this scene, Horace at the bookstore, the two bullies are not letting him in, but he's grabbed a gun from a cop who was killed. Gilman pops up out of a sewer. One shot, Gilman's gone. And the two bullies say thank you, fat kid, and he's like, my name is Horace. Like, really stands up for himself. That happened between the Wolfman getting silver bulleted and them opening up the portal. So they've got the portal open. Frankenstein's creature is saying goodbye to the kids, and Phoebe tosses him her stuffed animal. Everything that's supposed to go into portal goes into the portal. They've saved the day, and the army show up, and they hand them, the kids hand them a little homemade business card that says, we're the Monster Squad. And that's the end. Whew. So 90% of this movie, I would say, is about not judging a book by its cover, because they think the sister is one thing and she's not. They make fun of their teacher at the beginning, saying she's one thing when she's not. they're shocked to find out that she's a straight woman who's got a husband. Of course, that scary German guy, who they're terrified of, ends up being the sweetest man. The creature, like the Frankenstein creature, he ends up, even though he's super scary, and there's this one scene where they show him, when they're in the treehouse, and they show him a mask from a Halloween costume for a Frankenstein creature, and he realizes it's him looking back at him, like that this is kind of like me, and he starts going scary, scary, and there's like this realization that he'll never fit in. It kind of looks at the idea too, this with the fact that the parents are having marital problems, even though they love each other and they're perfect for each other. Their problem is that he's a cop and he's never around. He always puts everyone else first, which a cop should do. A cop should put everyone else first and themselves last. So this is a strain with them. So it's like they present to the public as this solid foundation, which they technically are, but they've just hit such a snag that they don't know how to work around it, and eventually they have to come together to fight off Dracula and these monsters, and they realize that they're okay, that their foundation is actually more solid than it appeared. I know there's some more really in-depth things going on here, but it's like the surface of it is about not judging a book by its cover, and by, again, having the confidence in yourself, having the surety that no matter what, you can get through it. Whether you're an outcast, whether you're popular, it doesn't matter. None of that matters in the end. It's your integrity that does. And the scary German guy, when he is first translating the diary for them, and they make a comment, "Oh, you sure know a lot about monsters." And he reaches his arm up, and then there's a tattoo from the concentration camp. So it's alluded that he survived the Holocaust. And with that, let's go to the next segment, a recipe. All right. So here we are in the kitchen, getting ready to do a recipe. I've got some water on to boil. I'm not gonna show you that right now because I just set the other camera up and there's really no space to move it over for the burner it's on. Trust me. Ooh. Okay, so I got a pot of water here, and something must have gotten down in the burner because it's like smell. Okay, that's always fun. So I got the pot on, bringing it to a boil, and the burner that I have it on, I can't arrange the secondary tripod. It just doesn't, there's no room for it. There's only one burner that I can manage to get it to work with. Anyway, so the first half of this video was the Halloween bingo task for this episode, and that was to watch a family-friendly horror, and I picked The Monster Squad. So I thought a recipe would go great with that, and you'll see I have in front of me some chocolate, some mixed nuts, and some, I can't see them, Smarties. I thought that a Halloween trick-or-treat bark would fit nicely as a companion piece for watching the Monster Squad. Why? Well, I'm assuming I've already... I'm taping this segment before I do the movie review. So I'm assuming I've done a movie review and that you know the scene near the beginning of the movie where the bully, I don't remember what the bully's name is, he knocks a Snickers bar out of Horace's hand, aka Fat Kid, and then he squishes it on the ground, and Rudy comes up, the character of Rudy comes up, and he forces the bully to eat the smushed Snickers. So I thought, let's make a trick-or-treat candy bark. So I'm using some regular chocolate. Why? Because they did not have any baking chocolate at the grocery. So I'm like, okay, I will just get some regular chocolate, and I'm just waiting for the water to come to boil, and then we're going to put the chocolate in here and temper it. So I'm just going to move those out of the way, and while I'm waiting for the water to boil, now that I've explained myself, and I have over in the corner, waiting for once we get the chocolate tempered, I have a baking sheet with parchment so that I can put it all in the fridge. And I gotta say, I'm filming this on a very, very hot day, and I can't believe I'm in the kitchen cooking on a day like today. Good thing it only has to be on for a few minutes. It's got to come to boil. I think I'm only going to use 2 of the 3. I think that should be more than enough. So I'm going to put the 3rd one back into the refrigerator. There we go. It's coming to a boil. So let's start to temper this. And I'm actually, because I've got that really high, I'm actually going to turn that down. Just give it a second. I'll turn this one over here on pause. Whew. Oh yeah, it's already starting. It's already starting to melt. I don't know if you can see that. You see that? It's already, yeah. Okay, let's get that going. So I'm not aware yet what I've said, because as I just told you, I am doing this part of the episode before I actually watch, well, rewatch, because I've seen the movie 1,000 times. But before I do any kind of recap of the movie review, I'm doing this part. Whew. I'm not kidding, it is like plus 27 Celsius today. No joke. You're lucky I'm wearing a shirt. I'm seriously, if I wasn't on camera, I'd be running around in my bra. That's not something people want to see. Trust me, they don't. But, I don't know what episode this is. This was supposed to be episode 7, but, ooh, I'm actually going to turn that off. Okay, it is boiling quite a bit. You see, we're almost there already. this. I went to put my copy of Monster Squad into my player to watch it, and it ended up my copy had disc rot. So I had to order a new copy. This was originally supposed to be episode 7. I honestly don't know if this will end up being episode 7, which is why I'm doing this part of the episode first, because I'm waiting for the movie to come in. But I already had the ingredients, and I wanted to get it done so that I wasn't tempted just to eat all the ingredients. So I don't know if this is going to end up being episode 7, because I don't know when the movie arrived on my doorstep, or if this is later in the season. Wow. Okay. I'm just gonna bring this over. So look at my stained cookie sheet. All right. Now, let's pour this. And I got some water on the bottom, condensation. I am recording, yes. I was doing a video last week, a cooking video for you guys, one of the first ones, and I forgot to hit record for half the video with the second. Okay, I might need to put this back on just for a second. A little bit of water dripped off at the bottom of the where it touched where the bowl touched the water. I didn't quite have it. Oh my. It is firming up so quickly. Wow. Okay. If I touch the spoon to the... Is it going to melt a little bit more? Oh my. I think it might be... Alright. I don't think we're going to get half. Like, there's all this left in the bowl still. And on the spoon, it's just solidified already. And you're thinking, why don't you just do this in a microwave? I don't own a microwave. I don't like microwaves. I don't believe in microwaves. I grew up in a household where the microwave was used so often. Or, like, it's just solidifying. Oh, I gotta work quickly. Okay. Oh. I don't know. Am I going to get this? I should have had it opened ahead of time, and I didn't. Okay, so these are just Smarties. They're chocolate with some coating on them. Okay, I'm just going to use part of that. And I have some mixed nuts here. Just because they used a Snickers, so you had that salty chocolate. I thought there was going to be some peanuts in here, but apparently not. It's all cashews and almonds and walnuts. Okay. Oh, are we going to get any more out of that? No, I think that's all we're going to get out of that. I was hoping to kind of sandwich it in, but I don't think we're going to get... All right. Now I've got to put this in the fridge for, I think, 4 hours. So I'll see you then. Okay. It is 7 p.m. and I honestly, oh, maybe it did work. I was going to say, I honestly don't think it worked. It did. I made it a little thin, though. I made it a little thin. But it looks like it worked. So, okay. I have to remember, if I make this again, to make it thicker, and to maybe hold out for proper baking chocolate. Because using that chocolate bar, it melted really quickly, but it solidified so quickly that it was hard to put the other pieces into it. And I made it, like I said, I made it way too thin. That's as thin as paper. Oh, and look at this, it's melting. And it was in the refrigerator for like 5 hours. I don't know, do we call this a win? Do we call this a failure? Medium. It's a win in the fact that it did what it was supposed to do, but it's a failure in the fact that it is melting the second I touch it, and it is way too thin. Okay, until next time, creeping screams.